Mark stood frozen in his kitchen, watching as Ellie, his daughter's teacher and the woman he'd somehow failed to notice was falling for him, finally broke down. Tears streamed down her face as months of unnoticed signals and ignored hints culminated in this raw moment of vulnerability. "I've been right here," she whispered through her tears, "waiting for you to see me." In that instant, everything changed. Sometimes the love we're looking for has been standing in front of us all along, waiting patiently for us to open our eyes. If you've ever missed signals from someone who cared about you or struggled to open your heart after loss, this story might just touch your soul. Like and subscribe for more stories that remind us it's never too late for second chances. The alarm blared at 5:30 a.m., and Mark Reynolds groaned as he rolled over to silence it. Another day in the marathon that was single parenthood. The house was quiet except for the gentle hum of the refrigerator and the occasional creak of the old Victorian home he'd purchased with Sarah before cancer took her 3 years ago. He shuffled to the bathroom, splashing cold water on his face before staring at his reflection. At 42, the lines around his eyes had deepened, and flecks of gray peppered his dark brown hair. He wasn't old, but grief had aged him beyond his years. "Dad?" a sleepy voice called from the hallway. "Are you making pancakes today?" Mark smiled despite his exhaustion. "It's Tuesday, Lilybug. Tuesday means pancakes." His 12-year-old daughter appeared in the doorway, her wild curls, so like her mother's, sticking out in all directions. "With chocolate chips? Is there any other way?" He ruffled her hair as he passed, heading toward the kitchen. Their morning routine was sacred, a carefully choreographed dance of breakfast preparation, lunch packing, and last-minute homework checking. Mark had perfected it over the years, finding comfort in the predictability. By 7:15, they were in his weathered Honda, driving through the tree-lined streets of Mapleton toward Lily's middle school. "Don't forget I have math tutoring after school," Lily said, scrolling through her phone with Miss Bennett, "right?" Mark asked, navigating through the morning traffic. "Dad, she's been tutoring me for 6 months now." "Yes, Miss Bennett." Mark nodded absently. Eleanor Bennett had been a godsend since joining the faculty last year. Lily had struggled with math after Sarah died, falling behind as grief consumed their household. But Miss Bennett had somehow broken through, rekindling Lily's interest in numbers and equations. "She asked about you again," Lily said casually, not looking up from her phone. Who did?" "Miss Bennett. She always asks how you're doing." "That's nice of her," Mark replied, pulling into the drop-off lane. "She's just being polite." Lily rolled her eyes dramatically. "Whatever you say, Dad. See you at 4. Mark watched his daughter bounce up the steps, greeting friends with animated waves. She was healing, slowly but surely. He wished he could say the same for himself. The construction company where Mark worked as a project manager was only 15 minutes from Lily's school. He spent the day buried in blueprints and contractor meetings, grateful for the distraction. By 3:30 he was wrapping up, preparing to pick up Lily after her tutoring session. When he arrived at the school, most of the students had already left. He made his way to room 112, where Miss Bennett held her after-school sessions. The door was ajar and he could hear Lily's laughter, a sound that had become more frequent lately. "That's it, you've got it," came an enthusiastic female voice. "See? You just needed to approach it differently." Mark knocked lightly before pushing the door open. Lily sat at a desk near the front, while Eleanor Bennett stood beside her, pointing at something in a textbook. She looked up when he entered, and her face brightened with a smile that reached her green eyes. "Mr. Reynolds, right on time. Hope I'm not interrupting," Mark said, stepping into the classroom. "We just finished," Miss Bennett replied. "Lily had a breakthrough with quadratic equations today." "Dad, I got an A on my quiz," Lily exclaimed, holding up a paper with a red A circled at the top. "That's fantastic, sweetheart," Mark said, genuinely proud. He turned to Miss Bennett. "Thank you for working with her. It means a lot." "It's my pleasure. Lily is a wonderful student." Miss Bennett tucked a strand of auburn hair behind her ear. "Actually, I wanted to talk to you about the upcoming STEM fair. Lily has a great project idea, and I think she could really excel with some support at home." "Of course," Mark nodded. "Whatever she needs. I was thinking—" Ms. Bennett hesitated. "Maybe we could discuss it over coffee sometime? I have some resources that might help." Mark missed the hopeful note in her voice. You could just email them to me. My schedule's pretty packed these days. Oh. Her smile dimmed slightly. Sure, I can do that. Lily shot her father an exasperated look that he completely missed. Ready to go, Lilybug? Mark asked, checking his watch. Actually, Dad, I need to use the bathroom first. I'll be right back. Lily darted out of the classroom before he could respond. An awkward silence settled between the adults. Mark shifted his weight, unsure what to say. Miss Bennet, Eleanor busied herself organizing papers on her desk. Lily's really thriving in your class, Mark finally said. She talks about you all the time at home. Eleanor looked up, her expression softening. She's a special girl. You've done an amazing job with her, especially considering... She trailed off. Considering I'm doing it alone? Mark finished with a sad smile. Lily told me about your wife. I'm so sorry for your loss. Mark nodded, the familiar ache in his chest flaring briefly. Thank you. It's been 3 years, but some days it feels like... Yesterday. Eleanor took a step closer. I can't imagine how difficult that must be. But from what I can see, you're giving Lily exactly what she needs. There was something in her eyes, warmth, understanding, perhaps something more, that made Mark suddenly aware of how close they were standing. He took an instinctive step back. We manage, he said, his tone more clipped than he intended. Lily makes it easy. Eleanor seemed about to say something else when Lily bounded back into the room. Ready, Dad? Great. Thanks again, Miss Bennet. Mark nodded politely, already turning toward the door. See you tomorrow, Miss B, Lily called, following her father. As they walked to the car, Lily sighed loudly. Dad, you are so clueless sometimes. What are you talking about? Mark asked, unlocking the Honda. Miss Bennet, she was totally asking you out. Mark laughed, shaking his head. Don't be ridiculous, Lily. She's your teacher. She was being professional. Professional teachers don't blush every time your name comes up, Lily muttered, climbing into the passenger seat. Drop it, Lily, Mark said firmly. Miss Bennet is just being kind. The subject was closed, but as Mark drove home, he couldn't help replaying the conversation in his mind. Had Eleanor Bennet really been asking him out? And if she had, why did the thought make his heart race with something that felt suspiciously like panic? Over the next few weeks, Mark found himself noticing Eleanor Bennet more and more. It wasn't intentional. In fact, he tried his best to maintain a polite distance during their interactions. But somehow, she kept appearing in his thoughts at unexpected moments. He noticed how her eyes crinkled at the corners when she smiled, how she always seemed to have a book tucked under her arm, how she remembered tiny details about Lily's interests and incorporated them into their tutoring sessions. One rainy Thursday, Mark arrived early to pick up Lily, soaked from the downpour. Eleanor had insisted he wait inside rather than in the car. You'll catch pneumonia, she scolded gently, handing him a paper towel for his dripping face. Lily's just finishing up a problem. She'll be done in about 10 minutes. Mark thanked her awkwardly, acutely aware of how his wet shirt clung to his chest. Eleanor seemed equally flustered, busying herself with organizing books on a nearby shelf. I've been meaning to thank you, Mark said suddenly. Lily's grades have improved across all her subjects, not just math. Her counselor says she's more engaged, more confident. Eleanor turned, genuine pleasure lighting her features. That's wonderful to hear. Lily's a bright girl, she just needed to believe in herself again. You helped her do that, Mark said softly. I haven't seen her this happy in a long time. Something passed between them then. A moment of understanding that went beyond teacher and parent. For a brief second, Mark allowed himself to see Eleanor not as Ms. Bennet, Lily's math teacher, but as a woman, warm, intelligent, and undeniably attractive. The realization startled him, and he quickly looked away. So, how long have you been teaching? If Eleanor noticed his sudden change in demeanor, she didn't show it. This is my 5th year. I was at a school in Boston before moving here last year. What brought you to Mapleton? It's not exactly a happening place. Eleanor smiled, leaning against her desk. My mother got sick. She lives about 20 minutes from here. I wanted to be closer to help out. I'm sorry about your mom, Mark said sincerely. Is she doing better now? Much better, thank you. She's in remission. Eleanor hesitated, then added, "Actually, that's how I first heard about Lily. My mom was in the same cancer support group as your wife." Mark stared at her, stunned. "Sarah went to the Riverside Hospital group. Your mother is Martha Bennett?" Eleanor nodded. "She spoke so highly of Sarah, said she was the bravest person in the group, always, lifting everyone's spirits even on her worst days." A lump formed in Mark's throat. "That sounds like Sarah. When I saw Lily's last name on my class roster, I wondered if there was a connection. Then I met her, and she has Sarah's smile." Eleanor's voice was gentle. "I didn't say anything because I didn't want to overstep." Mark was speechless. All this time Eleanor had known about Sarah, had this connection to their past that he'd been completely unaware of. "Dad, I got it!" Lily's excited voice broke the moment as she rushed over with her completed assignment. "Miss Bennett showed me this awesome shortcut for solving these equations." Mark cleared his throat, trying to regain his composure. "That's great, sweetheart. Ready to go?" As they prepared to leave, Eleanor handed Mark a business card. "My personal email and phone number," she explained, "in case you ever want to talk about Lily's progress, or anything else." Their fingers brushed during the exchange, and Mark felt an electric jolt that both thrilled and terrified him. He mumbled a thank you and hurried Lily out to the car, the card burning a hole in his pocket. That night, after Lily had gone to bed, Mark sat at the kitchen table, turning Eleanor's card over in his hands. The thought of calling her, of pursuing whatever this was between them, filled him with conflicting emotions: guilt, interest, fear, possibility. In the end, he tucked the card into his wallet without making a call. He wasn't ready. Maybe he never would be. The annual school STEM fair arrived in early May, and Lily had thrown herself into her project with unprecedented enthusiasm. Her volcano model, enhanced with actual chemical reactions rather than the standard baking soda and vinegar, had been Eleanor's suggestion, and Lily had embraced it wholeheartedly. Mark had taken the day off work to attend, proud to see his daughter's growing confidence as she explained her project to the judges. From across the gymnasium he spotted Eleanor moving between displays, offering encouragement to her students. She wore a floral dress that swirled around her knees, her hair pulled back in a loose bun with tendrils framing her face. She was beautiful, Mark realized with a jolt. Not just pretty or attractive, but genuinely beautiful in a way that went beyond physical appearance. There was a warmth to her, a genuine kindness that radiated from within. When she caught his eye and waved, Mark felt his heart skip a beat. He raised his hand in return, managing a smile that felt stiff on his face. Later, as parents and students mingled over punch and cookies, Eleanor approached him, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Lily's project is amazing," she said. "The judges were impressed. I wouldn't be surprised if she takes first place in her category." "That would be all thanks to you," Mark replied. "She couldn't have done this without your guidance." Eleanor shook her head. "I just pointed her in the right direction. The rest was all Lily. And you. She told me how you stayed up late, helping her perfect the chemical mixture." Mark shrugged, embarrassed by the praise. "I just followed the instructions you sent. Still, you made the time. That matters." Eleanor hesitated, then added, "Actually, I've been meaning to ask you something." Mark tensed, sensing what might be coming. "Oh? The school year's almost over, and I was wondering if—" "Dad! Dad!" Lily came running over, clutching a blue ribbon. "I got second place. Can you believe it?" Mark swept his daughter into a hug, genuinely thrilled for her but also relieved by the interruption. "That's incredible, Lilybug. I'm so proud of you." Eleanor stepped back, her question left unasked as she congratulated Lily. The moment passed, and Mark told himself he was glad. Opening his heart again was too complicated, too risky. Better to focus on Lily, on their comfortable routine, on the life they'd rebuilt after Sarah's death. But that night, as he lay awake staring at the ceiling, Mark couldn't shake the image of Eleanor's face, the hope in her eyes just before Lily interrupted, and the quiet disappointment that followed when the moment slipped away. The end of the school year arrived with a flurry of activities. Lily's final math test showed remarkable improvement, and a minus that she proudly displayed on the refrigerator. Mark sent Eleanor a brief email thanking her for her help throughout the year, keeping his tone professional and detached. Her reply came the same day, a warm message expressing how much she'd enjoyed working with Lily, along with an offer to continue tutoring over the summer if needed. The email ended with a personal note. "I valued our conversations as well, Mark. I hope our paths continue to cross." Mark read the message several times, hearing Eleanor's gentle voice in the words. He started multiple replies but deleted each one, unsure how to respond without encouraging or dismissing her. In the end, he simply thanked her for the offer and said he'd discuss summer tutoring with Lily the last day of school arrived, and Mark found himself lingering as he dropped Lily off, half hoping to catch a glimpse of Eleanor. But the morning was chaotic with excited students and harried teachers, and he left without seeing her. That afternoon, when he picked up Lily, she was subdued, clutching a small gift bag. "Everything okay?" Mark asked as they drove home. Lily nodded, staring out the window. "Miss Bennett gave me this. She said to open it at home." Inside the bag was a beautiful journal with a constellation pattern on the cover, along with a set of colored pens. A card nestled among tissue paper read, "For all your brilliant thoughts and ideas, never stop reaching for the stars. With affection, Miss B." "That was thoughtful of her," Mark said, watching as Lily traced the constellations with her finger. "She's not coming back next year," Lily said quietly. "She told us today she's taking a position at the high school instead." Mark felt an unexpected pang of loss. "Oh, well that's good for her career, I suppose. She said she'd still be happy to tutor me if I needed help." Lily gave her father a pointed look. "She specifically said to tell you that." Mark pretended not to understand the implication. "That's nice of her. We'll see how you do with your new teacher first." Lily sighed dramatically. "Dad, when are you going to stop being so scared?" "I'm not scared," Mark protested. "I'm just focused on us right now. Mom wouldn't want you to be alone forever," Lily said quietly. "She told me that, before she died." Mark gripped the steering wheel tighter. "Lily, please, not now." The subject was dropped, but Mark couldn't shake his daughter's words, or the knowledge that Eleanor Bennett would no longer be a regular part of their lives. He told himself it was for the best. The subtle tension between them, the unspoken,